Okay, everybody knew that the rapture is on the Feast of Trumpets. This last year, 2022, was the biggest rapture hype that has been since I've been awake, the past 8 years or something. And that is because everybody and their mama knows that the rapture is on the Feast of Trumpets. Now, the reason that this last year was the biggest hype is because this was the 7-year mark. Okay, this was the beginning of the 7. The last 7. Okay, so that's why the hype was so big. See, it was called a Shemitah year. Shemitah year is the 7th year in these 7-year cycles. It's a Jewish thing. It's called the year of release. So naturally, that even fits too, right? But the problem was that they had the year wrong. They're looking for a rapture in the beginning of a 7-year period. But they are false because Jacob's trouble is a 3.5-year period. You see, God's wrath is a 3.5-year period or less. And so this was the problem. Everybody knows that when Jesus was saying nobody knows the day or hour, he was referring to the Feast of Trumpets. Because that is the day that is considered the day that no man knows the day or the hour. And that is because there's a 2-day window in which people are looking for the sighting of the new moon. But within those 2 days, no man knew the day or the hour when that would happen. That's why they had to look. That's why Jesus kept saying, look. What's he talking about? He's talking about looking on the Feast of Trumpets for the new moon. Okay, and what he's not talking about is what Steve Fletcher's doing. And what most of those guys are doing. He's not talking about look at every single thing and say it's a rapture or possible rapture. That is not what he was talking about. So everybody knew this, but the problem is that now accepting after the Feast of Trumpets passed in 2022, the fact that it did not happen, they will not accept that truth. So now they're making up and looking for anything to say that it's a rapture. This is why I'm so angry with Steve Fletcher and all these guys. It's because they're being stubborn and willfully ignorant. They all know that Jesus is pointing to the Feast of Trumpets. Yom Teruah, or the Jewish language, Hebrew language, is Yom Teruah. Okay, I've done videos about this, how Teruah means shout or blast. That's the rapture. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 descends from heaven with a shout and a trumpet. I mean, it couldn't be any more obvious. That's why I know these guys are not stupid. They're not dumb. They're not stupid. They're not ignorant. They're willfully ignorant. They know the truth, but they're rejecting it because they can't stand that the rapture is not in the beginning of a 7-year period. So they'll take the truth and they'll sweep it to the side and they'll make something else up. All these guys, all of them, I always name them. Burial, God a Minute, Humble Seeker Michael, We Are the Overcomers, Repo Man 64, Steve Fletcher, and many more. And they have got people gaslighted so much to the point where it's like a drug addiction. That's what it is. And you know what happens at the end of a drug addiction? You're burnt out. It's like the boy who cried wolf. It's the boy who cried wolf. So, people who don't understand the fact that they understand that everything directly points to the Feast of Trumpets, if you don't understand that, then you would say to somebody like me who keeps on and on about them is, oh, you should leave them alone, we don't know when the rapture is, so they're just looking. That's not correct information. People don't know enough. You don't know enough if you're saying that. They know that everything points to the Feast of Trumpets. But they insist on this path of complete insanity. Complete insanity. In one breath, Steve Fletcher will say, "Are you ready to meet the Lord?" Like the day before he did this last sign of Jonah's thing. And then 2 days later, he said, "I never said it was a rapture." Oh, yeah, but you were just saying, "Are you ready to meet the Lord?" Come on, man. No, I've done videos to show and prove that the rapture is on the Feast of Trumpets in 2025. Go watch them. They're recent videos called 9/23/25 Rapture Proof. And there's a part 2. So this is why it's very frustrating to me. Because I know they know more to not have to be doing this every week. Right? Every single thing. That's not what the Bible says. Everything points to the Feast of Trumpets.